Hello my dear students. Today I'm here with another video, and in this video I will be talking about assessment and evaluation. This topic I have already completed in my previous classes, but still some of the students couldn't attend the class due to some or the other reason, and I'm here with the explanation on same topic again. So let's begin with assessment and evaluation. It is the process of collecting, reviewing, and using data for the purpose of improvement in the learning process. Okay, assessment here is purely used for the purpose of learning. Okay, and here the teacher will try to understand or check the improvement of learning process in his or her students. And this is ongoing awareness of students learning. This is ongoing, like this assessment happens throughout the session. All right, not like beginning of the session or at the end of the session, but throughout the session this assessment goes on, and the focus of this assessment lies in the improvement or progress of the student, progress in learning process. All right. The strategies of formative assessment is most valuable strategy for supporting students' learning and for promoting students' independence and responsibility as learner. Observation. So how a teacher keeps eye on the improvement of learning process of students is through observation. Observation is one of the most efficient and effective way for the teacher to assess students teaching learning abilities. Okay, in all ways, like as a teacher, when you are taking a test or when you're teaching, when you're explaining something, you still observe your students. Okay, like what kind of behavior they're showing, or like whether they are attentive in the classroom or no, all those things. And also apart from this observation, teacher can also check students behavior, discipline, okay, and other activity, other kind of behavior which are useful in all round development of the child. So these are the main steps which helps in the process of assessment. Number one is gathering of data, number two is analysis of data, and number three is interpretation of data. So gathering of data is purely through observation that I have just said, which is one of the most effective and efficient way of to look into a child's behavior. And to analyze, uh, when you gather a data, you will analyze the data. Analysis of data is comparing, contrasting. Okay, it is based on the skills of the teacher here. Interpretation of data: after analyzing the data, you as a teacher, you will interpret. Interpretation here you will give based on your own understanding or your experience that you have gathered with the child, with your interaction with the child, different kind of interactions with the child. So you may interpret that the child is weak in a particular subject. Let's say the child is weak in language, okay, but the child is good in history. So such kind of interpretation you can give. Or the interpretation may be like the child is more focused on sports rather than on the academics. uh, this interpretation depends on how you are going to, as a teacher, you're going to present the situation in front of the students and his or her parents. Okay, and these data can be quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative where numbers are involved, and qualitative where explanations are involved. In both the situation, as a teacher you will be gathering data. Okay, and purpose of assessment, let's move on to this purpose. uh, to improve students learning and teachers teaching. Okay, one of the purpose is to improve students learning and teachers teaching. Like as a teacher you are just keeping eye on a child's performance. Okay, improvement of the child, whether the child is improving or no. But this assessment will also help for teacher to check his or her teaching ability. You are as a teacher teaching in the classroom, some of the students, okay, for example, handful of the students, 4 or 5 students are doing very good, but rest of the students are not doing good. Okay, in the class of 30 students, only 5 students are doing good and rest of the students are not doing good. So here what you will understand as a teacher, that your teaching strategy has failed. Since students are doing well, but as a teacher, you are not able to teach well to all 30 students. Only 5 out of 30 students are able to understand you, but rest of the students are not able to understand you. That means as a teacher, your strategy did not work out. So here what you will do as a teacher is you will change your strategy. You will, as a teacher, you will always should make a plan B. Okay, there you have to have two teaching uh, strategies with you. If one strategy doesn't work on all the students, you have to shift to another strategy. After, like, you know, a little bit of improvement you can make in your teaching strategy, or you can modify, you can change. Anyhow, you have to, you know, help all the students to progress in learning process. Next is assessment can do more than simply diagnose and identify students' learning needs. See, here we can say that assessment has a diagnostic nature. Okay, that means it will help the teacher to understand what problem a child has. It will diagnose the problem. Like, for example, when you go to a doctor, you are suffering with some problem in your body and you do not know what is it, and you go to the doctor asks you to go through several tests, and the doctor will now diagnose the real problem. Okay, so likewise, as a teacher in a classroom, you will take several tests of the students. Okay, like different kind of tests, like spelling check, okay, handwriting, or understanding, or like you can ask students to perform different activities, and these activities and tests will help you to diagnose the real problem of the students. Of course, those students who are doing good, for them it's not a problem, but those students who are not doing good, for them it's a problem. And as a teacher, you have to diagnose the problem of the students, and also identify the students' learning needs, like what kind of learning strategies these students need, what kind of learning strategies you have to opt. Okay, this will help you as a teacher to improve your teaching process. Okay, next we have communities and boards of trustees can use assessment in information. Okay, so since assessment is diagnostic in nature, and it will come up with different kinds of ideas regarding problems of students, also what measures can be taken. So these community boards and trustees can take help of this assessment information to assess the department or concerned department, or any bodies which are working on education system. Okay, like they can take decisions on recruitment of teachers, or what kind of resources they need in the form of materials, and also in the form of human resources. All right, so next we have the education review office can use assessment information to inform their advice for school improvement. So this assessment information also can be used by education review office. That means um, this will help them to give advice, provide advice to different schools. If a particular school has applied a particular kind of assessment process, and if it is working very good, then same kind of strategy of assessment can be applied in other schools as well, hoping for the improvement among students. All right, so next we have the Ministry of Education can use assessment information to undertake policy review and development at a national level. So like I have already given an example in my previous classes, that when we are talking about NEP 2020, this is very newly changed policy in education in India after so many years. So, so such kind of changes, great changes can be taken place by using assessment information. So, so there are many changes in education system right now in India on the basis of NEP 2020 at school level, also at higher education level. So in this NEP 2020, people have also spoken about funding. Okay, like the amount of money they are going to fund in education. Also, different kind of policies have been uh, taken up after this NEP. Let's see what will happen. Now, this is only 1 year that NEP 2020 has come out, and people are still, have different ideas regarding this, and states they still have to work on this NEP 2020, and until unless we are, until unless we are totally indulged in this particular policy, we will not be able to know that whether it's going to work or it's not going to work, but still we can have some idea about it, since in education system, like school education system in NEP 2020, there will be no discrimination between marks, I mean between these streams like arts, science, or commerce, based on their achievement. Like students, those who used to get higher marks, they used to go to science. Little average marks, they used to go to take up commerce, and those who were like left out, they used to take arts. So by the choice of their subject or streams only, we could make out that okay, what kind of percentage this particular child might have scored. But now in NEP 2020, those pictures are totally changed. Now even a science student can take up history, commerce student can take up biology. So there will be no such kind of discrimination based on marks. So this is one of the changes that we have in NEP 2020, and let's see how it's going to work, to what extent it's going to be successful in future. All right, so next let's move on to the two types of assessment. Number one is formative, and number two is summative assessment. So formative assessment is in process evaluation. That means this particular kind of evaluation just it goes on in a classroom situation. It doesn't start in the beginning or like at the end of the session, but it will happen in between the session, and it goes on in different forms. Okay, and typically administered multiple times during unit course or academic program. So for example, this quizzes, assignments, or questioning, okay, in these forms, or in class discussions with students. So these are the forms of formative assessment, and these are taken any time between the session by the subject teacher. And one important thing about formative assessment is, since this is in process evaluation, so there is always a chance of feedback. And when the teacher gives feedback to students, that means there is always a chance for the improvement by the students. So when teacher gives you feedback and teacher gives you some suggestions, okay, to work on the loopholes that the students have, then students can work on those loopholes, and again can try for the tests next time. So that way this is a progressive nature. It has a progressive nature. So here teacher will help the students to progress in learning process. Also, if teacher finds that his or her teaching material, or teaching approaches or teaching material, academic support and all are not so well formulated, because it's not helping his or her a greater number of students, then it also can be modified by the teacher from the a teacher's end. So it's not always a student's end, but sometimes it is also a teacher's end that has to be modified, or that has to be changed. or improved. All right, so next we have summative assessment. It is used to evaluate students' learning at the conclusion of a specific instructional period. So at the end of the instructional period or at the end of the session, this summative assessment is taken. Like unit test, after a particular unit is over, you know, in a school unit, for a unit test there is uh, routine, no, for exam routine kind of thing they have in school, and all this the entire school, all the classes, they will be having unit tests. Okay, this may have happen after the end of units or courses or semester program. Whatever that happens at the end of the course is summative assessment, where the teacher will sum up all the taught material together and make a test paper. Okay, these are typically scored and graded tests. So scoring is given to students, okay, and also students are graded like first, second, third. That way gradings are given. Okay, assignments or projects that are used to determine whether students have learned what they were expected to learn during the defined instructional period. So every semester, or for example in school, every session they have an objective. Okay, if these objectives have met or no, that has to be checked. Okay, after completing a particular unit or particular course, the children should be able to, you know, learn this. They should be able to do this. These are some kind of objectives, and these objectives have to be met by the students at the end of the course. So here teacher will check whether you know, students have learned what they were expected to learn. Okay, now evaluation follows assessment. Okay, after assessment, evaluation comes by using the information gathered to determine students' strengths, needs and progress in meeting the learning outcomes. So evaluation is a process of making judgment or decision. Okay, so evaluation happens at the end of the session, and it will help the teacher to make judgment or decision. Okay, here the decision at the end of the session will be given to students. And after the decision or judgment is made, after the decision is given or the judgment is made, there will be no, you know, like no option for working out again, or even if the feedback is given, but there are no option to work on the feedback. All right, so because it happens at the end of the session, and after this session, the student will get promoted to the next class if he or she passed, and if he or she doesn't pass, then the student will remain in the previous class itself. So the judgment is given that this child is higher achiever and this child is lower achiever. This child is average achiever, and these children have failed. So this decision is given, and students stay with this decision until he or she gets into the next class. Okay, and he or she changes this, like every students may, get higher percentage in next class, then again next evaluation will happen and next judgment will be given. Evaluation is a broader term than test and measurement. So because this test or measurement, these terms, they comes under evaluation itself. Okay, it includes all types of examination. Its purpose is not only to check the knowledge of the learner, but all the aspects of the learner. So let's see the definition. Okay, so these are the definition. I have just given those definition from three people. Evaluation is a continuous process and is concerned with then the formal academic achievement of pupils. It is interpreted in the development of the individual in terms of desirable behavioral change, relation of his feeling, thinking, and action. Since it is since all aspect of learner is covered in evaluation, so even the child's feeling, thinking, and actions are taken into consideration in evaluation. Okay, and the concern to formal academic achievement is also taken care of. Evaluation is the process of judging the value or something by certain appraisal. Okay, So there are different ways of assessment, on based on those a judgment is given, which is evaluation. The term evaluation is closely related to measurement. So like you measure a child's performance. Likewise, in evaluation also you measure a child's performance, and there are different ways to do that. We will learn that later. Acha. So in this, it is in some respect inclusive, including informal and intuitive judgment. Okay, it includes informal and intuitive judgment of pupils' progress. Because what happens here in evaluation, summative and formative assessment both are taken care into, and in sometimes teacher they observe students, and on the basis of this observation some marks or some feedbacks are given, and these feedbacks may be totally informal or intuitive, because when teachers just observe a child, there may be a chance of biasness, or because these observations are subjective in nature, so it totally depends on the intuition of the teacher. So informal and intuitive judgments can also be involved in evaluation. Okay, uh, it describes something in terms of selected attribute and judging the degree of acceptability or suitability of that which has been described. So here, based on the evaluation, you as a teacher, you judge, okay, a child's progress, and when you judge a child's progress, you accept the suitability. You just see whether the child is intelligent or the child is just average. Because if the child has achieved 90% and above, we understand that he or she is intelligent. Okay, that is the judgment, because this is what our education system has come up with. When we talk about a percentage, 90% or 98%, they are very very intelligent, this is what we say, and this is what the judgment based on evaluation we give. And this is the reason these students who have scored 98%, they are accepted as intelligent people, intelligent student, and they're again suitable to get into high-end universities and colleges. Okay. Okay, diagnostic. The purpose of evaluation is diagnostic. Again, evaluation, just like assessment, here also it helps in diagnosis of uh, the problem of students' learning process. Okay, evaluation is continuous and comprehensive process. Of course, it is continuous as assessment. It is continuous, but it is comprehensive because it happens at the end, and it includes all the measurement, all the tests that was taking place during the session. Okay. It helps the teacher in finding out the problems. It helps the teacher in removing the problems of his students, because it is diagnostic in nature. And when the problems are diagnosed by the teacher will remove the problem of his or her students. It is remedial again. Once the diagnosis is done, and when the teacher will find out where the problem lies, and to remove this problem, to eradicate this problem, teacher will come up with remedial work. Okay, in remedial work, I hope you guys know what happens. It will just like teacher may take classes again, focusing on the problem situation or problem child or the problem content in the teaching process. Likewise, and teacher can give a proper solution for a desirable change in learner's behavior and to develop his or her personality. Again, if a child's behavior or personality or there is a problem, disciplinary problem in a student, and all these things can also be worked out in remedial classes. Okay, so number 3 is to clarify the objectives of the education. Okay, education. So education has objectives, and these objectives should be understood by each and every students. Okay, because education is all round development. It's not only, to have bookish knowledge, but also to have other knowledge which we do not get from the book. Also, these students, they should develop a positive behavior, positive personality, positive emotions. They should be able to control their emotions. They should be, so this evaluation will help the teacher to help the child to change his or her behavior. Number 4, we have, it provides guidance, of course, because when you see a child in problem, when you understand where the problem lies, as a teacher, you can give guidance to your students. And teacher here cannot just give guidance on the basis of, whatever you see above the ground. Sometimes some students, they really need your attention, your positive attention. That time you have to check all the dimensions of the students. For example, the students' abilities, aptitude, interest, and intelligence, and there are many other dimensions, many other factors that need to be taken care of by the teacher. So what you can do as a teacher when you want to guide the child is, if you want to see, interest or aptitude. Let's see, aptitude and interest. If you find that children in your class, they are more inclined towards music, okay, if or your school has recently have a music teacher, very much professional music teacher, and the music teacher just wanted to take those students who are interested in music, but not other students, because the music teacher doesn't want to waste other students' time. So here, as a teacher, what you can do is you can just check their aptitude and interest. Aptitude is inclination to a certain thing, okay, or the pre-existing knowledge that individual has. If the child has aptitude towards music, the child will be automatically interested towards music. So this thing you have to check. There are different psychological tests that a teacher can use, or through observation also, teacher can find out the aptitude and interest of students, and likewise other skills. For other skills also, the teacher can find out, and the teacher can help the students to undergo the profession or skill training that these students, they want to take up. So here guidance can be given accordingly based on their abilities, aptitude, etc. Okay, help in classification. So evaluation helps in classifying students, okay, based on the students' intelligence, ability, and interest. All right. So not only this also helps in classifying students on the basis of their achievement. For example, higher achiever, average achiever, or lower achiever. So just the classification happens here. Okay, 60 and above are first div, and fifth, and 40 to 50 are average, and 40, those who have achieved 30 to 40, they are like just they have simply passed the course. Something like that classification has been made in Indian education system. So likewise we classify, but they can be classified in a different way, like based on their intelligence or based on their ability or interest. When this classification is made, it becomes easy for the teacher to guide them or to help them. For example, another example here is students are they are put into sections. So for example, a class 10 in a school has 3 sections, A, B, and C. So section A will have all good students, section B will have all average students, and section C will have all not so good students. Let's say they are poor in all the subjects. So likewise classification is made. This classification, such kind of classification is not good, but still it is made, and this is practice to make teaching process easier. Since section A is 10A are very good students, so teachers here did not to put much effort, likewise. And section B is average, so little effort need to be put there, and C are poor, so much effort need to be put there. So likewise classification can be made. Okay, number 6 is helpful in improvement of teaching learning process. Of course, just like in evaluation, here also teacher can check his or her own teaching process, and how it can be checked by checking students progress. Okay, so if students are not progressing, not doing well, not understanding what you as a teacher are teaching there in the classroom, that time the teacher has to look back into his or her teaching strategy, teaching process, and try to improve or modify. All right, so next we'll see differences between assessment and evaluation. Okay, assessment is ongoing and continuous process. It provides closure. Evaluation happens at the end of the session because it gives judgment, so it closes the session. Whereas assessment, it goes on during the session. Improves learning quality. Okay, assessment improves learning quality because it gives feedback and give remedial classes to the students, and make the students do again and again until the students master the particular knowledge. Judges learning level. It will just judge the learning level, whether the child is intelligent or average or poor. Individualized assessment is individualized. It is based on individuals ability, intelligence, okay, interest and all. Aptitude applied against standards. So evaluation is applied against standard. That means there are external standard already constructed. Like I said, that 60 and above are first division. So these are like pre-constructed standard. So 60 and above are first division. Nobody has said that 50 and above are like falls under this category, or 40 falls under this category. It is declared by the external bodies. So here 60 and above, whoever have scored 60 and above, they are considered to be first division. Okay, so this is applied against standard. The standard has been already established, and evaluation works based on that standard. Okay, now we have ungraded. Assessment is ungraded. You do not grade student here, and here you grade the student like A, B, C. These students are graded as A. A means all-rounder or something like that. You give some meaning to the grades. Okay, but here grade, you do not give. A different kind of grades you can give, but not that judgmental grade. Provides feedback. Okay, it shows shortfalls. It will just say evaluation will just say that the uh, child is poor in sports, a particular sports, but it will not talk about, okay, do good now, concentrate on sports too. It will not give such kind of feedback, but it will just talk about the shortcomings of the child. Process oriented. So this is process oriented because here, since this is ongoing process, okay, and it gives feedback, again it will work on those shortcomings of the students, and again it will help the child to grow. But this is evaluation is product oriented. This happens at the end of the session. So what kind of product has come out after the session has completed? Like you have become you have scored a very good marks in this session, in this particular course. After you completed the course, you have got 90%, 98%. That is the product that have come after the course, when it got completed. Okay, that is evaluation. This is product oriented. Diagnostic in nature, judgmental is in nature. So the pure nature of assessment is diagnostic, and the pure nature of evaluation is judgmental. All right, so this is assessment and evaluation. And let me move on to the next topic, which is assessment of learning. So we have this assessment of learning and assessment for learning, and this is one of the separate topic in your syllabus, but I have included this here with assessment and evaluation itself. Okay, so assessment of learning is a kind of assessment in schools. Its purpose is summative. Okay, assessment of learning is summative because here you are assessing the learning of the child, and its intention is to clarify learning and report to parents and students about students' progress. Okay, since this is summative, so you know what summative assessment is. It is like it happens throughout the session. Also, like it collects information throughout the whatever assessment is happening throughout the session. Also, it sums up all the tests or all the assessment that has taken place, and it comes out with what we can say comes out with a result, and it will clarify the learning report to parents. At the end, after summing up everything, it creates a report, it constructs a report, and it gives to the parents and students. And also it talks about students progress in school. Okay, um, usually signaling students relative position compared to the other students. Again, it will talk about the students position in the students, and it will compare to other students. So like one student's position can be defined, okay, can be explained only when you compare his or her position with someone else. If the child has scored 98% and he is topper. Why he is topper? Because when you compare his percentage with another child who has scored 96, just the next child to 98% is 96. So you're comparing that 98% child with 96% child, then only you can say no, you're saying that the child is the topper because no one else has scored 98. Assessment of learning in classroom is typically done at the end of something. Like I said, that is summative. So when, as a teacher, you sum up everything, all the tests throughout the session. Okay, and takes the form of tests or exams that include questions drawn from the material studied during the time. In assessment of learning, the results are expressed symbolically. That means like you can give some symbols like first div, second div, or excellent, certain kind of symbols A, B, C. Also now outstanding O also can be given. No, generally as marks across several content areas to report to parents. Several content areas. So not only academic but also non-academic areas covered here. Okay, uh, still dominates most classroom assessment activities. So this assessment of learning still it uh, it is fully in practice in most of the schools. Teachers use the test to assess quantity and accuracy of students' work, and the bulk of teacher effort in assessment is taken up in marking and grading. A strong emphasis is placed on comparing student. Like I already said that comparison of student will be done here. Okay, feedback to students can be given, but this feedback will not be like in giving them feedback for corrections, but you are giving feedback in the form of marks or grades or in symbols. Okay, with little direction or advice for improvement. So this feedback will not have any suggestions to improve. This will just give you the statement shortcomings. Okay, and it will not give any chance to modify or improve. Typically, they don't give much indication of mastery of particular ideas or concepts because the test content is generally too limited. Okay, here it says that the test that is conducted by the teacher cannot give mastery of particular ideas or concept because these are limited in many ways. Like this is conducted by teacher, and here some teachers' intuitions are also involved. So limitations are there. And scoring, the way the teacher scores the tests or assessment is done, it is very simple. So it may not cover entire aspects of the child. So we cannot say that it is this assessment of learning has covered the entire progress of the child. Teachers' perceived purpose of assessment is to produce a rank of the student and assign symbol to designate. So ranking will be given to student, and this ranking is again based on comparison with other students. Okay, position will be given like first position, second position, top 10, top 5, like that. And teacher will maintain a record of students' achievement, just to in case later he or she has to justify the grades that he or she has given to student. So next is assessment for learning. Okay, assessment for learning, here the emphasis is given to formative assessment. Like formative assessment, like you all know that this happens throughout the session. Okay, here it is ongoing process, and it happens between the session. Okay, and it happens in different forms, like in like I will just find out. They are doing assessment for learning. Teachers collect a wide range of data so that they can modify the learning work. Like, since this happens throughout the session, and there are several times when chances that teacher gets to collect data from the students in the form of class test, in the form of discussion, in the form of like assignment, homework, and all those things are done to assess the child. So here it is assessment for learning. So that means here the teacher will assess the child for his or her learning process. That means if the child is not so good in learning process, modification can be made, because it is for learning. Whether the child need modification or no, child needs some assistance from the teacher or no. Okay, these things are taken care of here. And the process here included our observation, like I said earlier. Worksheets, that means like homeworks or classworks are given. Questioning in class, when teacher asks question to students in the classroom while taking class. Student teacher conferences. Okay, these conferences can be held in a classroom only, this small short brief conference, or anything like that through which the teacher can assess the child. And this assessment will help in the process of learning. Okay, marking is not designed to make comparative judgments. So marking is given, but this will not be judgmental. Okay, this will not be based on the comparison with another student. So this is individual in nature. The teacher will not compare the child with one another. Okay, and since this is individualized, so the teacher will highlight students' strengths and weakness individually with uh, feedback. Okay, feedback will be given, and again teacher will provide assistance to the students to work on the feedback. Okay, and will help in further learning. In assessment for learning, they use the personal knowledge of the students and their understanding. See, every students are different. Okay, they have their own way of understanding things. They have their own way of perceiving the idea. Okay, so here the teacher will take care of these understanding preconceived knowledge of the child to to come up with a particular strategy to teach, because one particular strategy will not work on all kind of students. And and that way teacher will help the students to perform better, will help those poor students also to come at par with good students by giving more attention to poor students or average students. It is interactive, so this has to be interactive. If this is not interactive, teacher will not understand what the child is going through. It depends on teacher's diagnostic skills. Of course, the teacher need to be very skillful, and this comes with experience. The more you work with student, the more you understand the student. Also, record keeping is important here. Whatever you do as a teacher in a classroom to assess the child in various ways, record has to be kept by the teacher. Okay, but the records on which teacher rely are things like checklist. Yeah, checklist. Okay, students progress against expectation, whether students are progressing according to the expectation or no, that you have to check. Artifacts, whatever the child has created during his or her project work. Portfolios of students, this is kind of biography here. Here all kind of informations, personal informations are given. Okay, and the personal informations plus health issues are also given, and the progress of the child is also marked. Worksheet to trace the progression of students along the learning continuum. So assessment of learning and assessment for learning is also over. Assessment of learning is summative and assessment for learning is formative. Okay, just these two terms are similar. Assessment of learning is similar to summative and assessment for learning is similar to formative. Okay, that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so this is it for today's class, and I will soon come up with another uh, video with another topic, that is test and examination, which also I have completed in last week, but still some of you couldn't join me in Gmeet. So